This is Hannibal here from thehannibaltv.com, and today we have a returning guest, WWE Hall of Famer, former WWE champion, one of the top ECW legends of all time, former ECW champion, former WCW superstar, Japanese wrestling superstar, none other than RVD. How are you doing today, sir?
Excellent, man. Thank you for that outstanding intro. And as is every man's ultimate dream, I feel like the biggest superstar at home. Because that's how Katie makes me feel so special.
That's very important, and not a lot of wrestlers have good women. I notice a lot with wrestling. I don't know about you, but when a wrestler has a good wife, they tend to live longer, have less personal issues, and have more money overall.
Yeah, well, a lot can be said for having that support system. Life can be challenging enough, but to go at it alone or to not trust anybody, not have anybody that you can really count on, and someone that you have to keep your guard up against, that can make everything like so much more difficult. Even with the smallest things, like having somebody just back your perspective or your opinions. I mean, sometimes if you're by yourself, you can second guess the hell out of yourself until you're not sure that you even have any sense anymore and that you're ever doing the right thing, So I feel for people out there that are waiting, hoping to find the right relationship, and I say hang in there. Biggest relationship, I think the most important is to build the one between you and the universe, however you want to put that, but that will guide you into all other things. At least it has for me.
Now, the last time I saw you in the news, you were at a SmackDown show, and they actually showed you on camera. They brought you backstage afterwards, did a backstage interview with you that went on their YouTube channel and I think their Twitter as well. How did that whole situation happen?
Yeah, it was a booking. They hit me up on Wednesday, said, "Hey, I know this isn't much notice, but are you available Friday?" And you'd have to leave tomorrow. So not much notice at all. And then I was available, and I said, "What are we doing?" And they said they want to bring some legends in, and they didn't know what we were doing yet. So I just said, "Okay, am I wrestling? Because do I want my wrestling gear?" And they said no. They would let me know if it was. Otherwise, they would hit me back once they talked to creative or whatever. And I don't think I heard from them again except for just talking travel. So I didn't know until before the show started that that's what I was there to do, was just to get walked out there to the front row and watch a little bit and then leave. Like that was pretty much the whole booking. But it was awesome. It was a really good experience for a lot of reasons. And one that's definitely worth mentioning is it brought my spirits up, my opinion of just the industry overall more. It was pleasing to me because, like yourself, having old school fundamentals, there's a lot of oath breaking going on right now. People that do stuff that wouldn't have been okay back in the day under the protect the business at all costs, because half the moves exposed, but that they're working together. So anyway, I thought maybe that all wrestling, from what I've seen now, has to have every wrestler dive over the top rope to the floor, has to have 8 tables broke. And I was thinking that was like the standard for every single match. And when Katie and I were sitting in the front row, and I watched the Randy Orton match with Kevin Owens, and I got to say, man, just in that little bit, my whole perspective changed. I got so much out of just seeing that. Maybe not enough to be to make a total conclusion, but what I picked up was that they were going back, simplifying, what they're doing out there to tell a story. And thank God all the fans that were there to have a lot of fun, because without being there and just like seeing it on the internet, what you read or whatever, it's always people critiquing, saying they could do a better job at running $1 billion company. And so to be there and feel that energy and know everyone was there, not just to have a good time, but to be there for their cues. I mean, it felt like they were part of the production in a way where everything that was done to generate a pop, delivered, received, the crowd was like happy to be part of it. And it was a good experience, positive experience for me and for Katie.
And you've had a lot of good matches in AEW. You've always had a good relationship with them. One of their issues right now, it seems like for shows like the Rampage, they don't really put that much effort into it. Do you think that they should maybe make something like Rampage a separate show and have someone separately book it? Or what do you think could be done to like boost up the lesser shows that maybe aren't as popular as Dynamite?
I kind of just look at it like they're going to do whatever they want to do. And I have such an open-minded perspective when I take that of an artist, so if you want to look at Tony Khan and Tony's AEW as his expression, so in that perspective, then he would be maybe an artist, as far as like the show is his expression, what he wants to bring to the world. If you look at it like that, it's really hard to say what he should do, what he shouldn't do. When they brought the plastic bag out over their head, for me, that's too far for me. Is it too far? Obviously, it's not too far for them. That's what they want to do. And someone told me that, I guess Dusty did that a long time ago, maybe with Terry Funk or something. I don't know. But some of the stuff that they do, I could say it's too far for me. But for me to feel qualified to say that that's just too far to go, that's really robbing them of being able to do and show whatever they want. And then we, as Americans, have the right to watch it or not watch it, instead of try to say how we could do it better or shape it in a way that suits our values more than what they're after.
Very good point. As far as your WCW run, I recently bought a Bill Watts shoot interview, and I've been watching it. And I know you worked in WCW under Bill Watts. What was your perspective of that regime?
Well, first off, when I think back then, I'm 22 years old, and just turning 22. I was a baby. So, when I think about what it was like looking through those eyes, you gotta remember, I just got out of high school a little bit ago. I wasn't traveling the world and stuff. So I remember just, being amazed at, seeing like Brian Pillman walk around, in the dressing room and be like, yeah, man, that's Flying Brian. I'm watching my TV. And, when I was wanting to do this, and I was not showing my Mark side, but for me, I was still looking at all them as if they were veterans that have always wrestled, and me as someone who, just got slapped by the doctor, came out of my mom. It feels like that. Like I was so young. I was even immature for 22. So like, it wasn't like I'd done anything or been anywhere. Bill Watts liked me. He hired me as a favor to Ron Slinker is what it was. And shortly before that, he hired Ron's stepson, which was Dennis Knight, Tex Schlesinger. And everyone in Tampa down there was happy for Dennis to see him on WWE. And then Ron was like, I'm going to wait a little bit, and then I'm going to get you in too, kid. I was like, all right, whatever. And boom, he did it, So I had that underdog special challenge match, which against Pat Rose. Thank you, Pat, for that way back then in December of 92. But I was pretty much in, even though that was looked at like a tryout, but I already had it in. I think Watts, I don't know if he liked me for me or just because I was Slinker's kid, while I was there, which was a brief, like a 5-month period. I remember that Bill Watts had banned going off the top rope because everyone was using it too much and no one knew how to wrestle anymore, in his opinion. But he still let me do the split-legged moonsault because I was just bouncing off it. So that was okay. You couldn't climb it. And so that was something. I got hired in December, and I already had a booking in Japan for Giant Baba to go in February prior to getting hired by WCW. So Bill said, go ahead. And then after that, you can't work for them anymore, because WCW had this working relationship with New Japan. And so I went there and I got over in Japan and knew that I had a job there if I wanted it. And then when I came back from from All Japan to WCW, it seems like immediately, it seems like that's right when it happened. Like all of a sudden, Bill Watts isn't there anymore. Ole Anderson had taken over. And so my position was lost there. I was either having dark matches or I'd show up at Peachtree stage wrestling.
Center stage, I think.
Yeah. Besides show up and either not have a match or I'd have a dark match. Sometimes they'd have me giving someone a tryout and they wouldn't show it. Or if I ever was on TV, they were putting me under. And even at that young age, I wasn't liking what they were doing with me or the direction. It was obvious Ole Anderson didn't have the interest in me that Bill Watts did. So I left.
Eric Watts tells a story, which I'm sure you've heard, about him and Rick Rude having a little amateur wrestling match in the dressing room around the time you were there. Did you happen to witness that by any chance?
No, unfortunately not. I tagged with Eric a few times, and I liked him, and I understood he was in a peculiar position because his dad had the book. And so everyone's looking at him like he's getting pushed unfairly, like Neo. What am I trying to say?
Nepotism, I think.
Nepotism, yeah. There's no O in nepotism, at least not where I'm trying to put it. Anyway, I remember him having that position, that status, but he was a cool guy, and I didn't know at that time. I don't remember knowing that he could shoot like that, but I did hear him tell the story, and there's no reason to not believe it.
As far as Sid, did you know him back then? I know you knew him in ECW a little bit. He recently passed away. Any thoughts about him?
Yeah, I met Sid in '93, and I was living in Florida. And WWF came through Tampa. So this is like the same time period as the other story I was just telling, really. Pat Tanaka was the guy that at that time he had the book for the Tampa Sportatorium, and he was hooking several of us young guys up with doing jobs. This was the day of the jobber enhancement matches. And I didn't really want to do that. But I did want the experience. I wanted to do a WWF show, and it was $150, and I was making $35 at the Sportatorium once a week on Thursdays. So $150 was good money. And I rode there with one of the sandy beaches, because there was two, and that's kind of confusing, so I can't really tell you which one, but the one from Tampa there. And it was like Mobile, Alabama, and then across the river, probably in New Orleans would have made sense, I think, the next day. And we went to the first one, and they didn't have a match for me. They put me on the list or whatever when I got there, signed in, and then they didn't have a match for me. I was so glad because I'd been Rob Van Dam at that time for 3 or 4 months. I felt like I had some momentum going. I was getting a push, and I was in at least one magazine, and having people tell me, that I was going to be really good. Ron Slinker was the first one to say, "Kid, I think you're going to be a world champion someday." Eddie Mansfield told me. I heard it from a few people, and I was, my ego was liking what I was hearing at that young age, and I didn't want to go on TV and get squashed like those guys. So I was so happy they paid me $150 and didn't use me, and they told us to come the next day, and so we did. And the next day they did make me work. And so I tried to change my look as much as possible. I, put my hair down, which was really short back then anyway, and wore a shirt, wore the blue trunks that Sheik had given me originally when I joined the school, and my white boxing boots and volleyball blue knee pads. And I went out there and I wrestled. They had 2 matches because I wrestled the Mountie, Jacques Rougeau, and then also I had to do a handicap match. So I was really embarrassed about that. My ego was, but it was me and Casey Thompson, I think was his name, and we wrestled Sid in a handicap match. And Bruno, downtown Bruno, Harvey Wimpleman, introduced Sid to us separately, and I don't know if that's why, but Sid was super cool with us. And I knew Bruno from Memphis, from being there 2 years before, I guess, in 1991, actually, in Memphis. That's where I knew Bruno from. And he was like, "Hey, Sid, this Robbie's a real good kid, one of the Sheik's boys, boom, boom, boom." And after the match, Sid went above and beyond. Like, I don't think I've ever had anybody else do this that I can, definitely not exactly. But anyway, he came back and we weren't together anymore. But I know he did the same to Casey. He thanked me. He said, "Hey, man, I really appreciate what you did out there." He said, because, I'm trying to get main event status. I want to wrestle Hulk Hogan. And he said, "What you did for me out there, making me look good," he said, "you brought me from here up to here so I can wrestle Hulk Hogan. I know it's not fun doing a handicap match and getting beat out there, but you really helped me out, and I just want to appreciate it. And here, I know it ain't much, but hopefully this will help get you down the road." And he tipped me $20 on top of the $150. And so that's where I met Sid. And then, I knew him later in ECW, and in Ireland was the last time that I was around him, I believe. And I was really looking forward to working with him. But he went home. He went home that day and switched the match. So he worked X-Pac because he didn't think he was in condition to wrestle with me. Sometimes, I have a reputation that scares people out of wanting to work with me. And this was kind of one of them. Sid got hurt at the beginning of this trip for AWR in Ireland. He clotheslined X-Pac in the mouth so hard that his whole bicep was purple the whole tour. And he was complaining about it. And he also didn't like being on the road, because it is taxing. I think he wanted to go back to WWE. We hadn't seen or heard from him in a long time. And I think that he thought if he did this indie tour, get some exposure, boom, go to WWE. But we're doing 10-hour bus rides, and he's like, "How am I going to eat and work out if we get in at 2 a.m. and we got to leave at 10, which, that's the way it is when you're on tour and stuff. So they even flew him when the rest of us took a bus ride. They flew him ahead one time so that he could rest, work out or whatever, and try to take care of him as good as they could. But every time I saw him and was saying, "I'm looking forward to this match that we had coming up at the end of the tour," man, I don't know, Rob. I don't think I can do it. I'm like, dude, whoa, don't even worry about it. I'm going to it's going to be your best match you've ever had, dude. And I'm just going to dance all around you. And trust me, man. He's like, "I don't know, man. I don't know." And so when it came to the day of the show, I was really hoping, I don't know, I was just, I was excited back then and motivated and wanted to have that story with that big monster giant heel. And anyway, he went and he walked off from all of us and talked to the promoter, and they put him on first with X-Pac. It was a one kick to the gut, power bomb, 1, 2, 3. And he left, and then he was done with the tour and he went home. I feel like I'm talking shit about him right now. I'm not. I'm just being honest. And I really liked him, and I was looking forward to that match.
Yeah, I know his person. It's almost he did that in a respectful way to you, because he probably didn't think that he could be at your level that day.
People sometimes psych themselves out, and that's, there's been several that I don't want to embarrass everybody, but that are all psyched out before the match. And then in ECW, sometimes when guys were like that, other guys would rib them, and be like, watch out for those kicks, whoa, and especially they get him all, they would have fun with it and get somebody really nervous before they went out there with you. But yeah, throughout my career, every once in a while, I've run into someone that's like, I don't know, man. I don't know if I would. Do you think I'd have a good match with you? I'm not known for having bad matches, So I always say, no, you're going to be the one bad match I've had in 30 some years.
So I've seen on your Rob Van Dam YouTube channel, you tell the whole pick a hand story. So I'm not going to ask you about that story. People can go search that up on your YouTube channel. But I recently watched a RF video shoot interview with Taz where he said there was an incident where you, I guess, stiffed him with a chair and he double-legged you. And he said you crossed the line, so he had to cross it with you. I just wanted to know if that was related to the same pick a hand thing or if that was something different.
Oh yeah, no, that was what you just said was pretty much one little moment taken out of the context of the whole buildup. To be completely transparent, I'm pretty sure when I first got to ECW in January of '96 that Taz had a little jealousy. He didn't like me being there. First off, nobody was going to be as close to Sabu as me. We're brothers. And Sabu had been there for a while. And Sabu and Taz hadn't wrestled, but it had been something they'd been building up and building up. It was the biggest angle that ECW had at the time that they were building. And Taz wanted to be the first guy to beat Sabu. And then all of a sudden I come in all cocky and, share like the whole effing show. And then Sabu and I are wrestling and having matches that were setting new standards, and I think I beat him right off the bat. And I feel very sure that all of that led into some emotions that led into some actions. And while I was there, he was kind of getting elbowed aside the whole time. And he really took his job seriously back then. And I think any of the boys from the ECW locker room will concur that he was really into his gimmick. And I think he believed in it so much that I thought something needs to be done about that, because there was like a year or so of Sabu telling me that Taz was telling him stuff about me, stuff that could make me mad. But now we're in the car after the match is on the way to the hotel or something. And I won't see Taz till next week. And Sabu's saying, man, will you just kick Taz's ass already? But what are you talking about? And he says, he's telling me again today, man, I'm going to whoop your boy. I'm telling you, man, I'm going to whoop your boy. I'm like, he said that? Why didn't you tell me at the building? And there was like a year of that, and then it almost happened, and then it didn't happen. And so, yeah, it was a real big buildup of that. Maybe Sabu was stretching the truth. The final straw was in New Orleans. And like you said, I already told the story, but in New Orleans, we had a 6-man, me and Sabu, Taz, Bam Bam Bigelow, I think Candido or Shane. Anyway, we're all in the match, and everyone was screaming afterwards and stuff. And after Taz was gone from the building, Paul told me, was it Paul? I guess it was. It was Paul, and Dreamer backed him up, and then even Lance said that some version of the story that when Taz came through the curtain, that he threw a cinder block into the wall or something. And so I'm going to kill Van Dam. And so, that was after he busted me open just a few moments earlier. He was mad when I busted him open, which is the story you're talking about. I think that was Philly, but yeah, I hit him in the face with a chair, and he's right. I didn't take care of him. It was totally stiff, right on the mouth. I don't know about the leg dive. I just know, after the match we had words, and Candido and Perry Saturn were pumping him up. So he'd go off with those guys. He'd come back. So, bro, I don't know what to think now. Like, I no one's ever taken it to me like that before. Like, you really, like, you busted me in the lip. You hurt my shoulder. You crushed my larynx. You broke my nose. But that was my fault, man. I was just watching you, that Van Daminator. It was just so pretty in the air. I was like memorized. But anyway, I'm starting to swell now. I don't know what to think. And he had left and come back a little hotter 2 or 3 times. And I said, "You're right. You owe me." I said, "Go ahead. I'll take it right now." And he's, what are you talking about? That's the way Sabu taught me. And so I've done that several times. I don't think anyone took me up on it, but that used to be the way to handle that, the way that I was taught, and I'd only been working 5-6 years at this point. So I was still very much under Sabu's umbrella. But I said, "Yeah, you owe me right now." I said, "Go ahead. I'll take it. Whatever you got coming." And then he said, "Oh, bro, it's not going to be like that." And I said, "Well, what do you mean then? You're going to take advantage of me in the ring?" Which, maybe I had just done. But anyway, that was a walk apart. And then after the cinder block incident in New Orleans, I was just, I want to put us in a position where we're fighting. We can't back out of it. We don't need no more talking, no pushing, no insulting, nothing. So I just went up to him, "Hey, Peter," because I wanted to disrespect him, "pick a hand," and went smack and smacked him across the face. Because I had done that to the music guy recently, a few weeks before, because the music guy, Randy, was doing something weird. The wives would sit behind the music guy at the ECW shows, and he was working on trying to hook my wife up with his. It was weird. She would tell me, like, he said he's going to show me naked pictures next week. I'm like, are you serious? And I was just like, you know what? I'm just going to say, "Randy, pick a hand," and smack him really hard. And I did, because I didn't want to injure him. I didn't want to send him to the hospital. I felt like a really hard smack was the perfect currency, for what he deserved. And anyway, I thought that treating Taz at that point like the music guy was the move to do, because of our issues, and because I felt like he had himself on a pedestal where he didn't think he was vulnerable, and I wanted to prove to him that was wrong, And so basically that's it. I've heard other people tell the story. When Sabu tells the story, and Paul, actually, I just talked to Paul about this when I was at SmackDown. Somehow it came up in the dressing room, because he said Roman loves the story. Anyway,
I think Roman may have done something like that with Kevin Owens at one point after he was stiffed, didn't he?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. But the way he told it, Paul or whatever, I said, by the way, they don't pick a hand. He's like, "What?" I go, "They don't pick a hand. It's an element of surprise." And he said, I thought it was pick a hand, and then they go, and they pick one, and then you smack them. That's the way Sabu swears that he saw it. But no, even though I'm calm and cool, they feel the energy that I'm coming with. They know that I'm not playing. Especially when I address them by their shoot name, on purpose, and something like that. Like, "Hey, Peter, pick a hand." He's not going to go, "Okay, Rob wants to play a game right here. How about that one?" So that's not the way it goes. It's pick a hand, and then when you feel a little confused, look, you pick for them.
As far as wrestlers being called by their shoot names, I don't care what people call me, either Devin or Hannibal. You use your real name to an extent, but some people get offended if you don't call them by their wrestling name. Others want you to use their real name, like Jack Swagger, for instance. What's your opinion on that? Do you have any view either way, or?
Hey Barbie, shut up. Hey. I can respect the commitment. Like Sheik was always Sheik. I would never be like, hey Ed, what are you gonna have Joyce cook us for dinner tonight? You know what I mean? He would have cut my forehead up if I did that for sure and set me on fire. And so I can respect that. I know Sabu doesn't like I can always tell when people are pretending to be friends with Sabu and they want me to believe that they're close with him, because I'll be like, yeah, so how's Terry doing? I give him rides when he comes to town, and I'm like, you don't know him if you call him that, because he does not like that. But I just think it's choice, and that's fine. I mean, I really, Rob Van Dam isn't that much of a character. I feel like, I am Rob Van Dam. I turn it up when I'm working, and hey baby, and turn it down or off when I'm not working, but it's still me. So that's a little bit different, but in the context that I was saying, it was specifically conditional with Taz because he believed in his gimmick so much. Like he thought that and I love Taz now, by the way. We've talked about all this, so I'm not saying anything new, but he thought that he owned the color orange. He thought that he owned suplexes. He would have his guys, Team Taz, stand in a circle around him inside the dressing room, and he would be back there going, like warming up, like way before the show starts. And if you wanted to talk to him, you would have to go through his circle of paper cutouts, holding hands, and tell them, "Can I speak to Taz, please?" or something like that. He was so, and because of what Sabu was feeding my head about him treating me like he was just going to mop the floor with me like I was nothing, I was like, okay, he must really believe that his gimmick is real, because he'd hit the ring and 15 of us would powder over the top rope and run in fear for him. And I thought, like, he's got a rude awakening coming to him. It was just at that point, which I've gotten that point very few times over the years. And I try not to get mad at all, but that was, mad, but keeping my cool and doing what I thought was necessary to take care of business at that time.
Now, you have a new platform called Only Wrestlers opening up. I see your wife's in the background. I assume she's going to be part of it. Could you tell us a little bit about this whole Only Wrestlers platform?
Yeah, so basically, we had the name first and had to do something cool with it. But it's something we've been working on for a while, and it's multifaceted. So I like to explain it in 2 points to try not to confuse you as much. But Only Wrestlers is a platform where wrestlers can be creators, open up their profiles on onlywrestlers.com, and then fans can subscribe to them. And then the wrestlers can give whatever content they want to do, whether it's hellos or workouts or cooking or road trips, maybe all the above. It's building that connection, and fans are able to do special requests and stuff like that through there as well. It does everything OnlyFans does, if you're familiar with that one, but then a whole lot more too. And there's loyalty rewards and all this stuff. And the other half of it is that we're actually going to, as the followers subscribe, they join a association. And then the bigger the association gets, the more power and leverage they have, and they're going to be voting on things that move the OWA forward. Originally, we were going to start with actually doing shows. One of my partners does shows. Katie wrestled for him a lot under UWW, Ultimate Women in Wrestling. We were going to start at shows, and I thought, what if we let fans vote on like who wrestles who? We give them different stuff to vote on, maybe stipulations, whatever. And we decided to roll this, to do that, but to roll it all the way back and have the fans do the whole ride with us, so that it can organically build. So the first votes, we're not even thinking about doing live shows yet. It could be logo related, or what should our website look like, or whatever. Eventually, it'll be to where we're at a point where we're like, hey, what town should we come to do our next show? And it even grows from there. So it's built to always continuously get bigger. As long as it does that, then we'll keep at it and keep promoting it. We just opened up, so right now during this phase, we have some incentives where wrestlers can make some coin, and fans can as well through a referral. So like if you sign up, Devin, and you're a creator, and then you get Jacques Rougeau to sign up, he uses your referral code, now you get 5% of everything he makes for 12 months. And you can do that to a whole bunch, because we want to get a whole bunch of people, creators and followers, signed up. Same thing with the followers. The follower can get another follower to sign up, and they get 5% of everything that their account does that they spend for 12 months. So that's something that, and the boys, and during all this, it's free, and the boys will be compensated. So I got our money guy to actually pay, it's the bottom price of the subscription, it's like $5.95 per head. So everyone you get underneath you to follow, they're going to sign up for free, but you're still going to get paid per head. And then the subscriptions will start later. Right now, phase 1 is going to last for the next 2 weeks. So everyone that signs up until Columbus Day gets 30 days free. So you can check it out, see if you like it and stuff. We're not during this phase, we're still signing wrestlers up. A lot of the wrestlers are still getting around to setting their prices. And so what you see right now isn't how it's always going to be. As far as the activity will be much more. I'm going to be doing videos every day, and also still, talking to the fans about coming up with helping us realize like what it really is going to become. But it's always going to be adapting and growing. And I just see me in both. I hope you're still in there.
Oh, yeah. I'm here. I just take myself out. Yeah.
Okay.
People
cool.
don't want to see more of me. They want to see more of you and her.
So yeah, a lot of people are like, wow, this is great. Someone should have done this before. And then other people, they don't get it. They're going to wait and see how it does. So either way though, hopefully you understand that. Myself and Katie, we're free to follow because we're owners of it, as is the OWA account for Only Wrestlers Association. But we're still right now tweaking the website. Like every day we have a list that we're giving our programmers, the back button here doesn't work, this and that. So while it's free, we appreciate everybody's patience, and it's been doing well getting people to sign up. But we want thousands and thousands, because then we're doing something. Then it's sustainable, and we get to the point to where we're running shows on a structural schedule basis regularly and stuff. Then that might be the only place you get to see RVD anymore. We'll see.
So they could tip you, for instance, and you guys would do some type of video based on what the tipper requests within reason. Is that the type of thing it's going to be?
You want to get that, baby?
Yeah, we have lives. Hey, y'all, I'm joining in late because I was at the gym. But y'all know it's Katie Forbes. But yeah, we started Only Wrestlers and Only Wrestlers. There's like there's a bunch of different ways to make money on it. But on the actual for the creators, you can go live and do Q&As like what this is and do that on there. And also fans can tip the creators, and also you can send out pay-per-views and the fans can just like pay to open up the pay-per-view. So for the creators, you set your price for the subscription for the pay-per-views, and then fans can like send like a tip with like a question or whatever. And also the referrals, that's the other way, what he was saying, you get 5% when you refer people for their first year of whatever they make, you get 5% of it. And
I did the math. Every 20 times you get 5%. You know what you got? 100%.
yeah. Right. And then the
20
fans can also
things.
use that, and the fans can get money for referrals for referring other fans.
Yeah. Like I said. So anyway, it's meant to be fun. It's meant to be a win-win for everybody. We got videos that are in our video category. We also have like a live feed. We can go live whether we're at a signing or whether we go out to Las Vegas tonight and go live or whatever. What was I going to say? Something about the live that I just realized. I'm still learning it myself, like I said, but I forgot what I was going to say. How about that?
Yeah.
Something that we didn't mention yet
Wait.
about the
It helps.
OWA.
And also the fans can interact more with the wrestlers, like social media, just like for wrestlers or creators. And also promotions can find wrestlers on there. Wrestlers can find promotions.
That's what I was going to say too. So all of the creators aren't just wrestlers per se, because we have some promoters that use their account to showcase their wrestlers in their shows, and people that might be doing like yourself. Like we got Dominic, the dude that does my YouTube channel, opened up a creator's account, and yeah. So right now we're trying to collect everybody for free, pay the boys for it at the same time, and then once we go forward after Christopher Columbus Day, then the wrestlers set their own subscription, and it's a platform for them to use and utilize. The ones that'll be the most successful will treat it like it's their own thing. And I've always had I had this thing called Tweet Secret for a long time, and I made all these really cool videos, but hardly anybody ever subscribed to it. So that footage is still unseen. I still don't know what I'm going to do with it, but it was like my whole return to WWE. I filmed every day coming to the building.
We should use that content.
I know. I
Yeah.
will
Okay.
sometime, but RVD TV, same stuff. You can do whatever content as far as a creator.
And also you can make merch and have your own merch store on there.
That too. And that's part of the loyalty program where subscribers are earning points towards discounts on the merch, which we will be having, and all the individual creators will have it too. So
yeah,
only wrestlers, y'all.
And here's a fan that's tipping something, and you fans will be able to tip them and ask them through their only wrestlers. But this person's asking, who are your top 5 toughest wrestlers?
Well, let's see. With what I have to go by, I'm gonna say Brock, and I'm gonna say Bobby Lashley, Ming.
yeah.
I mean, a lot of these are. No, I said Ming.
Oh.
Haku. I'm not gonna say Ming. And it's.
You have to be up there, though. Honestly, how many people honestly could beat you in a shoot? I know you're modest, but
Right.
even in today's wrestlers,
Ken Shamrock, and maybe Steve Blackman.
there you go. I think that might be 6.
Oh,
So there you go. Even better.
oh, that's easy to put me on it. My 5, you're 6.
Is there maybe Katie could answer? Is there like a tough woman wrestler that all the girls are afraid of out there? Like we know that men are intimidated by the guys like Haku.
Back in the day, I don't know if she's still wrestling because I saw a retirement post, but when I first got into wrestling, everybody said Lufisto was the toughest girl wrestler. Like because somebody was going to book us against each other. And my mentor, Luke Hawks, was like, I don't know if you're ready for that. So that made me think, I don't know, I'm tough enough to hang. But that was in my first year. So now I definitely wouldn't be scared of anybody in that way. But when I started off, she had that reputation. But currently, who would be the toughest? I don't know. Because I don't want to do hardcore shit. So if they are like tough and like stapling people's heads and busting light bulbs over their head, I don't even want to be a part of it.
I feel like the people that do MMA, especially if they still do that while they're wrestling and they do well at it, those will always be towards the top of my list, you know.
Do you think you would have done MMA for the right offer if there was more money in it in the time when you were more in your late 20s, early 30s?
Maybe before then, for sure, if it would have been around when I was 18, 19, because during that time I was.
Oh, it's 4:20 here, by the way. Someone's saying. Just interrupt.
That's something I'm trying to decide on only wrestlers too. Like, should I chime in at 4:20 every day and say hello to the stoners? But there's a lot. MMA wasn't around, you know, when I was much younger. I don't know if it was in '96 or something when it started, but anyway, but I would have, because I loved testing myself and believed in myself at that 18, 19. I remember after I got trained with the Sheik, and then this is 1990 was when I competed with the Kalamazoo Tough Man contest, and I thought that the Sheik was going to be pissed because it was like an onerous contract. You don't do shit without going through him once you sign. And I remember I was afraid if he found out that I was doing this other thing that he would be mad. But I don't know if I told him or not. But I felt like I was at a crossroads or a fork where maybe I'll be a pro wrestler, maybe I'll be a pro kickboxer. Which even back then, people didn't really know what kickboxing was. There was like ISKA on ESPN and PKA. I think there was two different companies on ESPN, but people didn't know, and it wasn't very watched. But by the time MMA came around, I loved it, but I think I was already like, you know, I think I already knew what I was going to do with my life, with wrestling.
I know that you probably knew Scorpio from ECW. I'm friends with him. What are your thoughts on that whole self-defense situation that I guess is a big issue in his life right now?
Yeah, you know, I have questions. I haven't talked to him personally about it. I've only read, I guess, what everyone else has read. It seems strange that he had, from what I read, he had two job-issued weapons on him, but instead was using a personal weapon. That on the surface, if that's the facts, that sounds pretty hard to defend yourself against. But besides that, you know, it sounds like a guy was either smoking a cigarette inside the gas station, and Scorp told him he's got to go outside with it, or he lit it up inside, depending on who you listen to, and they ended up getting in a fight. And, you know, we don't have enough information. We never know the whole picture, and without that, it's hard to comment on. I hope he's okay, because I know he could be looking at some trouble, and I don't know why he would have his own personal weapon and use that, and especially in a situation where you need the company to back you like this. If you give him a club and handcuffs, and instead he stabs somebody with his own knife, you know, it's going to be hard to fucking want to have his back if he's on your dime, you know, and you're paying him his employ.
When you were backstage at SmackDown the other day, was CM Punk back there, or was he off that night?
He was off that night, I guess.
Okay. Do you think he's changed over the years? I know you said back in the ECW days he kind of was very aggressive in the locker room as far as wanting to be like the locker room leader? Do you think he's mellowed out over the years, or have you just not been around him enough to give a good answer on that?
Yeah, I haven't been around him a lot, but I do know quite a bit about life, and most of us do change and do grow. And part of growing is that whenever you look back in the past at yourself, you see a lesser version of what you are if you've grown. If not, then that's a good sign that you haven't grown if you look back and you feel the exact same. So, just seeing his energy that comes across from like a few interviews or whatever, I believe that, yes, that he has changed for the better, that he's got a bigger idea of the bigger picture, and that it's humbled him. And I don't know how he feels about being a locker room leader, specifically, but I believe that he has changed, as most of us do.
Is there anyone left on your list to wrestle that you haven't scratched off the list? I know last time I interviewed, you were thinking of maybe having Sabu's retirement match as a potential match, but have you pretty much wrestled everyone you want to wrestle, or is there a few out there that you still want to knock off the bucket list?
I don't have anybody in mind. I'm not usually too good at doing these fantasy matches or whatever. So I just try to have consistently the best match I can with whoever I'm in the ring with. And that's always been my goal. Having said that, as far as my last several TV matches have been on AEW, the last couple were in April, and I don't mind saying, as much as I hope I'm spreading some knowledge to the younger guys working with them, I would actually love to work some of my peers, and have a match with Jericho or Christian or Edge, someone like that, someone that we've had incredible, outstanding matches in the past, and we could do it again.
For the right price on Only Wrestlers, would you two have a mixed match, or are you too old school for something like that?
Us wrestle each other?
Yeah,
Mixed
yeah.
match.
I could see people paying like thousands of dollars for that.
That'd be awesome, though. I would love to be his tag partner. Like, if we tag partner, in a mixed match, like I did another couple, would be really cool. But I would never want to be like the way John and Taya like wrestle each other. Hell no. Like, just like training with Rob, I'm like, you are so rough.
They wrestle each other?
Yeah, they wrestle each other, like in like a wife, husband, like loser does the dishes type match. Like, I've seen them do stuff like that against each other. And I'm like, Rob would break me. Like,
I only have one mode.
Yeah, he does. He only has one mode, and there's no walking through anything with Rob. Like, he is just talking about something. He like rip my arm off. Like, he'll be in the middle of conversation like this, and then go for an arm drag and just sleep. Like, and his arm drags are so fast and snappy. Like, it'll like rip my arm out of socket. Yeah. So of course I love taking advice from him because he's a wrestling genius, but when it goes through like actually physically wrestling each other, I don't like that part of it.
It has to be a lot of them thousands of dollars.
Well, if it gets over enough, I'm sure. There's another fan here that wants to know why you never dissed the fans when you were a heel.
We love the fans.
Yeah, I just, even because I come from the same place, I was a fan, and that's what got me into wrestling. I was taught as soon as I got in that I couldn't be a fan anymore, but I still remember my childhood, how much all the wrestlers meant to me and everything. But when I was in TNA with her and doing a little bit of healing, I had fun with it. Like, some of the heels some of the fans don't understand my dry sense of humor, but I had fun. I would tweet shit like when I grabbed the rope in the corner, and then I look left, and then I looked right at all of you for support before I go up for the 5-star frog splash, and I was gonna go up anyway. And then I just enjoyed stuff like that. Just, I didn't really need your support.
Oh,
But that's about as far as I would go, and I make it too personal.
I didn't really need your support.
This is something I would like to see, but if fans bringing it up, would you want to have a match with John Cena on his retirement tour next year?
Yeah.
I
Katie
would.
want to, yeah, that'd be awesome.
I would be extremely interested in that. Yes.
That'd be awesome.
So as far as your YouTube channel, you still got that going. You got OnlyFans going. Where else can people follow you? And where can people follow you? Yeah, sorry, only wrestlers. It's going to take a little bit for that to compute to me.
Yeah, so you can follow me at The Real RVD, and that's everywhere, except robvandam.com, which I usually put my appearances up there. I need to get better about putting like interviews and stuff like this that are recent and fresh. But The Real RVD everywhere, and the YouTube has clips and the whole podcast that we do that airs on another YouTube channel and wherever else it airs. I don't know. I think he said iTunes and stuff. But yeah, the podcast is cool. I like the feedback that I get from that. People telling me that they're digging it. And so that's why I'm doing it, and I'll keep doing it. And check out onlywrestlers.com, see if it's something for you.
And check me out, y'all. Hey.
Maybe it is, maybe it's not.
Check me out. My Instagram.
Subscribe to Katie Forbes.
My Instagram is Katie Forbes, the number 4 real. Katie Forbes 4 real. And Twitter or X is the Katie Forbes.
Very good. And one last question here. The fan wants to know, are the Triple H Munchies stories true? I never heard this one.
I don't know about it either. I can't really comment on something I don't know anything about.
Yeah. I've heard he eats a lot, but I can't see him smoking anything the way he is.
And WWE, if you have the Munchies, like has everything for the Munchies because they have the best catering with all the desserts. Have the Munchies, he'd be at the right place for it.
Is there a wrestler that might surprise us that you've smoked with that we wouldn't? Maybe if they don't want us to know, but like, is there someone that we might be surprised, like a Lance Storm or something?
Yeah, I was surprised myself. One time in TNA when we were in England, I scored some weed, but we were only there for it was the last night. I don't know how long we were there for, but we were only there for one more night, and the guy gave me like I don't know, it must have been like 2 ounces. It was a really big fat bag, and it smelled so strong. When I came into I met him in his car or whatever, and I came into the arena, and I had this shit. It was in plastic bag, in another plastic bag, wrapped up, and it was in my bag in the dressing room. And one by one, everybody walked into the dressing room like, holy shit. And D'Lo was the agent. He was like, Rob, holy shit. Like, I could smell it from the arena, down the hallway, turned right, down the whole hallway of that other one, and another left down into here. And I'm like, I'm not smoking it, dude. He goes, no, I know this between smoked marijuana and non-smoked marijuana. I don't know why he said that, but he wanted me to know that. And then I was like, it's loud. What do you want me to do? And he was like, holy shit. Like, I don't know. Like everybody in the building knows there's marijuana in here. And I took it and I went out to the garage with it and I hid it in some pallets that the buses were all parked in and shit. And it was really cold out there. And so the smell couldn't travel as far because the air was thicker. And anyway, that night, a lot of boys stepped forward to help me finish that bag. People I'd never smoked with before or after. And yeah, some of them would surprise you. Yeah.
Wow. And I guess this guy just clarifies it. And we need you on good terms with WWE, but I guess Triple H made a Munchies joke about you. I never heard this.
Okay, because the only thing that even rang in my head that I was gonna maybe tell Katie after this, there was an adjusting period that I had to go through my first year or two in WWE, and let's just say I didn't take him or his comments well. I don't think they were I didn't feel like they were intended to be taken well. I felt more like they were intended to be insulting. And, without getting too specific, one time, and, me and Jeff Hardy were the same way. Like, we felt like when there's a 6-man or an 8-man match and he's involved, they're not going to want to do anything that we're going to want to do. They already have a pretty good idea of everything they want to do. So we're all going to waste our time and pretend that we're throwing ideas in the pot to see what sticks, right? But it's like, it always just felt like a work to me, because I'd be sitting there and it's like, Rob, you got any ideas? And it's like, if I do say something, then, like in the Elimination Chamber match, what about, boom, I do a crossbody to the outside off the ropes. Like, if you would duck for me, boom, I could catch on the cage and then fucking boom, do it again from there. That'd be cool. Yeah, we could do that. Anybody else? That's what you would get. So you didn't feel like, casting a line out there too often. It was kind of painful to go through. It felt like pretentious. Usually me and Jeff both would try and get out of there. One time they were pushing a cart full of all these chairs by, and Jeff was like, I'm trying to figure out how to go run up there and grab on and sneak on that cart, and roll out of here. Because we were down there by the ring going over a match we were going to have. And, I'd be out in the car or whatever. For me, on TV days, what I did, which isn't a good habit for a worker to get into, but I would show up and I would eat lunch. Everyone would see me and I would leave. I'd go to the gym and I'd go tan and I'd go smoke. And when I came back, I was hoping that everything was done and they would need as little input as possible. And a lot of times that would work out. I'd come in, hey, there was this one spot, like if we tag you, can you come off top rope with like some kind of kick or something? Do you have a kick you could do? Sure. How about I do my one-legged kick off the top rope? Okay, boom, perfect. And I'd be like, yes. For me, I got to where I sold out my interest and excitement about it to the point to where it was easier to just get through it. And that's usually what I hoped for. One day I come in and I didn't know that everyone had already gotten together, and I'm on the car or whatever the fuck. I come in, there's a bunch of the guys sitting down by the ring, like in the front 2 rows. Hunter is one of them. And I'm like, oh God, they're already getting together and noticing that I'm not here. So that's not real good. But I walked down there and I sat down and he wasn't going to let it just slide by that I just popped in with everybody. So he was like, okay. He goes, hey, Rob, how you doing, Rob? Oh, good. He goes, okay, should we start this now? Or maybe do you need to go get something to eat? Maybe you got the munchies?
Yeah.
And that's what went through my head. I didn't know that I had told that story. Obviously I did. Obviously I told that story somewhere. I know I didn't tell the rest of the story and I'm not going to, but I took that the wrong way. And
snacking time.
And that was a build up to me feeling not appreciated during this set adjusting period. So yeah, that happened.
Well, that was some of your best work anyways. I loved that whole period of you. And I thank you guys a lot for your time. I'll let you close this off with whatever you want to say to shut this podcast down.
Follow us, y'all. Remember, my Instagram is Katie Forbes, #4 real. I'm Rob's wife, and I'm a wrestler too.
Yay!
And everyone, go subscribe. If you're a wrestler, go make a creator profile, and if you're a fan, go make a fan profile. OnlyWrestlers.com.